as well as states of Colorado and Washington approving it recreationally. However, it is still illegal on a federal level, one that comes with arrest, incarceration, and a criminal record that will follow you around for the rest of your life. Now, I'm not condoning the use of marijuana or any other drug for that matter. I just feel that as consenting adults, we should make the decision of what we put into our bodies and not the government. We can walk into a store and buy alcohol that destroys our liver and impairs the way we drive. We can buy cigarettes that severely damage our lungs and our heart. Yet we cannot buy marijuana. It just doesn't make sense to me. What I would like to do this morning is just share with you a few reasons as to why I think marijuana should be legalized here in America. First, I'd like to debunk a few common myths that have been associated with marijuana that have been used and discredited over the years. Myth number one: smoking marijuana causes serious damage to your lungs and can cause cancer. In 1997, UCLA study concluded that even prolonged and heavy use of marijuana causes no serious lung damage, and that you have more of a risk of getting cancer from meat, dairy products, and salt. Myth number two: marijuana has over 400 chemicals, thus proving it is dangerous. While it is true that marijuana has over 400 chemicals, that coffee you're drinking this morning has 1,500 chemicals, and rat poison has only 30 chemicals, proving that the amount of chemicals that a substance has no bearing on its toxicity. Myth number three: marijuana is addictive. Marijuana is not physically addictive. Medical studies have it ranked less than caffeine, whereas tobacco and alcohol are ranked comparable to heroin or cocaine. Full disclosure for you ladies and gentlemen today, I used to smoke marijuana. I don't anymore. I stopped because a few years back I wanted to get back in shape and started exercising regularly and started playing different sports. I stopped because marijuana didn't really help this. The reason being, after I would smoke, I would get the worst case of the munchies. I could eat literally a whole pint of Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream without even blinking. And I thought this was counterproductive to what I was doing on the court and in the gym. I also used to smoke cigarettes. I don't do that anymore. I quit back in January of 2008. And let me tell you, quitting cigarettes was the hardest thing I have ever had to do. I would snap at loved ones for no reason. I would get horrible waves of nausea after I ate. But the worst part, for about 2 weeks afterwards, I would get these horrible nightmares and it would wake me up in this cold sweat. But it passed, and I quit, and I haven't had one since. After quitting marijuana, I suffered none of these withdrawal symptoms or any others. The last myth I want to go over today is that marijuana can be what's called a gateway drug. There is no scientific evidence whatsoever that shows that if you have one drug or anything, you're going to crave or have an urge to try another drug. And if you want to go by that logic, alcohol is a true gateway drug because most people have tried alcohol before they've tried any other drug. Next, I'd like to share some benefits that marijuana can have on the body and in treating certain diseases. The active ingredients in marijuana, or cannabinoids, have been approved to relieve nausea and vomiting and increase the appetite in cancer and AIDS patients. The American Cancer Society says marijuana has antibacterial properties, inhibits tumor growth, and enlarges airways, which they believe can ease the severity of asthma attacks. UK researchers have also shown that marijuana can kill cancer cells in leukemia patients. A 2006 study by the Scripps Research Institute showed marijuana can also slow the progression of Alzheimer's by blocking an enzyme and preventing protein clumps that inhibit cognition and memory. Marijuana's anti-inflammatory pain relief can help treat migraines, rheumatoid arthritis, and multiple sclerosis. It has 100 times more effective than the over-the-counter Tylenol or Aleve or whatever you can buy in your local CVS and Walgreens. A 2005 study in the Harvard Mental Health Letter found that those who consume marijuana occasionally or even daily have lower levels of depressive symptoms, and those who have they have lower level of depressive symptoms than those who have never tried marijuana. It also, in small doses, will relieve anxiety and some symptoms of ADHD. Another study performed by researchers at Virginia Commonwealth University discovered that ingredients in natural marijuana are an effective treatment against spontaneous seizures found in epilepsy. Researchers also have proven that marijuana reduces and relieves the intraocular pressure that causes optic nerve damage, which is brought on by glaucoma, the leading cause of blindness in the world. The last point I would make to you folks this morning is how our legal system is affected and how much money is wasted by the prohibition of marijuana. In 2010 alone, 746,000 people were arrested for marijuana violations. That's an 800% increase since 1980 and is the highest per capita in the world. Since 1990, 17 million people have been arrested for marijuana. 88% of those 17 million people were for simple possession. A new FBI statistic shows that every 45 seconds a marijuana smoker is arrested. There are more arrests made for marijuana than all violent crimes, including murder, aggravated assault, robbery, forcible rape, and manslaughter. The U.S. spends $25 billion a year on its war on drugs, which is paid by us, the taxpayer. Yet drugs continue to flood the streets of our country. How much money could be saved if we would just legalize marijuana? Imagine. You don't have to have the numbers right here. In 2008, Jeffrey Miron, an economist from Harvard, estimated that the annual savings on the cost of enforcement and incarceration of marijuana users would be roughly $41.3 billion. He also estimated that $46.7 billion in tax revenue based on rates comparable to alcohol and tobacco. It is for these reasons and many others I think marijuana should just be legalized already. Many diseases and dollars have been spent because of this. I'm aware that the legalization of marijuana is controversial, and I hope I didn't offend anyone today. You're entitled to your views, as am I. Thank you.